Good morning, Kris. Thanks for letting me come and interview you. I'm going to ask you to tell people a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got to the position you currently have at the Riverside County Office of Education. This is Kris Nicholls.
Good morning, everyone. My journey to this point where I'm at the Riverside County Office of Education is quite an interesting story. I didn't set out to be an administrator. I just wanted to learn more about my students and the best way to teach them in order to do the best job I could. Because I realized that every kid is so important, and I didn't feel always that I was that well prepared, and so I set on a quest to learn more. Along the way, I ended up with 2 degrees in liberal studies and in Spanish, because I really wanted to pursue learning Spanish at a really high level, because I'm expecting my kids to learn English at a really high level, and I needed to experience that myself. But it also allowed me opportunities to work in a very diverse community and be able to really appreciate and understand a lot of the challenges that that community faced. What it resulted in is not long, after I started teaching, I began my work on my master's in earnest because I wanted to learn more.
What level were you teaching?
I was teaching at the elementary level, although I have both credentials. I have a credential for elementary as well as for secondary to teach Spanish with my Spanish degree. And so I enjoyed that time, but at that time we were still doing primary language instruction in the elementary schools, and so I was the transition teacher, taking the kids from Spanish language arts to English language arts. I had made that journey myself from English language arts to Spanish language arts as an adult, and I knew kind of what they would be facing, and so I knew that it was a lot of work for me to really be able to do that well for my students. So I wanted to pursue my master's. It was in education with a bilingual emphasis, really learning more and more about how kids learn languages as they're learning academic content. And it just spurred a lot of thought in my mind, and it really helped to build my pedagogical practice, the way I was teaching the kids in the classroom, and the knowledge that I brought in and the research I was reading. And it really helped me to try to take myself and be able to set goals for myself to go to the next level. One of the things I realized along the way was that I was giving more and more opportunities to be put in a leadership position, first at my school site and then in my district. And what I found is I really enjoyed being able to interact at that level and work with other teachers who were working with the English learners in our district and at our site. And not long after I finished my master's, in fact, my principal that I had at the time when I finished my master's, I proudly gave her my little graduation announcement, and she says, "I'm not coming to your graduation." And I was heartbroken because she had been my biggest supporter. She says, "No, I'm going to wait for you when you get your PhD." And that scared me to death because I had never thought about doing that. She says, "But I think what you need to consider is as you do that, you need to also really consider moving on towards administration because you really have a gift there." That blew me away because I never thought I would ever be, I used to call them the suits that came through my classroom.
You don't look like you're in a suit.
No, I'm not.
The world's changed a little bit.
It has. Well, and along the way, I had a chance to really be challenged. People didn't necessarily receive the message that I was bringing about what was best practice, what the research was saying about how best to teach the kids. So I did end up working on my doctorate, just recently completed it, and opportunities expanded for me in professional development to the point where I worked in teacher ed at UCR and at Cal State San Bernardino. And then ultimately when this job opened up, I needed an administrative credential to take the job here at the county, which a lot of it is supporting teachers in districts, best practices based on research for their English learners and all kids that are not yet proficient or advanced. And so because that was just something that I really loved, it was just something that I did, getting that credential so that I would have the opportunity to do this, and I'm loving every minute of it.
So you've actually become an administrator to work at the county office. You are not a site-level administrator.
I was never a site-level administrator, but I was a BITSA support provider and did a lot of professional development and leadership there within my district. I was considered the transition queen, that's what they called me at my district, and did a lot of presentations at state level and national level conferences on the work that I was doing in my classroom and what I was finding there. So it was just a wonderful journey, and I'm just really enjoying where I'm at now.
Well, and it's a perfect example. There's not one way to get to your next place in the education world.
Absolutely.